Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of our 5th row of single crochets, and I've split the stitch but I'll work around it. There we go. Do your final single crochet there, remove your stitch marker for a moment, pull up a loop and you're going to cut it. Okay, now the final round, I should say round because it's going to be a round eventually, is going to go around the front like that and across the front. So that's not finished. You're going to need one more row there, but that happens on the final round. In the meantime, you want to get your piece and you want to do the other side because, you know, you don't want to be lopsided, right? You don't want to be lopsided, no. All right, now with this side here, sorry about the mess, guys. I've just squished it everywhere. We started, if you remember, from the top down. But for it to be on the right side, we're going to start from the base up. All right, so what I want you to do is pop your hook in the base of the opposite side. Now, being careful where that hook's going to go. All right, have a look right here. You've got your 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and there's your center. I'm going to pop that tail at the back. All right, so grab your main thread. We can maybe have to do the tail later, but anyway, just grab your main thread, pop it over your hook, pull the loop through like so, and where's the tail? Right there. Hello. It's a little overcast today, guys, so it's coming up a little dismal, the recording. It's coming up fairly grey, isn't it? All right, so we are chaining 1, single crochet in the space. Oh, stitch marker, I forgot all about that. Pop your stitch marker in that first single crochet, like so. And single crochet. Now this one's a little tricky because it's got the little knot there. So you want to get into that tight chain, keep your tail at the back, yeah, and do your single crochet. And it's fairly tight, that chain, yeah. And then you want to get into your second stitch, your third, and you guessed it, over your chains. Now we're doing exactly the same with this one. Make sure you get that first stitch with this side as we're doing with the other, but this side is going to have our buttonholes, okay? So what I want you to do is do this row of single crochets all the way across, get to that corner, and what I'm going to do is go back to our other side and leave your stitch markers in it. Now I've got one sitting there still from before. I'm going to replace it because I like the big one. I like using the big one more often, so I'm going to replace it. That's the opposite side that we just completed, yeah? And grab your stitch marker, another one, and place it in the top of that stitch that you just completed from the opposite side. You're going to need those later. Not now, not now. All right, so what we're going to do now is complete this row, get to the corner right here, meet me there in just a moment, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do next, okay? Go all the way across, get to that stitch marker, and I'll meet you there once you're done. All right, so here we are at the end of this row, okay? You're going to pop your single crochet in the corner space. What you would have done, I'll just show you quickly, I'll take that undone. You would have done your last 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, popping into the corner with your single crochet, remove that stitch marker for a moment, chain 1, turn your work. And you're going to work on these single crochets for just one more row, and then we'll talk about buttonholes, all right? So, single crochet in every stitch, and I've done mine a little tight, but that's okay, all the way across your piece, yeah? Single crochet, and single crochet, all the way across your piece, yeah? Get to this stitch marker right here and get ready for buttonholes. Alrighty guys, so here I am at the end of the row. Now I've placed my stitch markers and we'll talk about that in a moment. You don't need to worry about that yet. What I do want to do, and I think that's the button I'll be using, by the way. I think I need to do 2 more stitches. Is that right? No, 1 more stitch. So 1 stitch in the final stitch of our row. Remove that stitch marker for now. I'm going to place my stitch marker on the second stitch, and I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, just chain one, whoops, and pull that loop up for 1 moment. All right, so what we have now is that where I've placed my stitch markers is where I want my buttons to go, or buttonholes I should say. Now I want my buttonholes to go on the second stitch from the base, or the second last stitch from the base, and the second last stitch from the top, because we are doing another round around the whole thing, so you're going to get a little bit more over. So I was thinking before of placing it down on the third stitch, but if I did and then put another round, then it's just going to be too low. All right, so I'm going to place it on the second stitch, the buttonhole right there, and it's going to look like it's going to come over your piece, but it won't, because we will have a round of single crochets there. Don't worry about it now. It stresses you out too much. Don't worry. I don't want you to stress. What I do want you to do is actually measure between what you think you want to do with your buttons. And what I did, well, I started like this. I placed the buttons like that, right? And then I just used my measuring tape and kind of measured in between. When I found a measurement that I liked, I counted. For me, I actually counted 15 stitches across each section. But everyone's size will be different. Once you place them in a spot that looks right, just count between one to the other and then marry it up. And if it doesn't work, you just decrease, and until you get the spots that does work. And that's what I did here. All right, so find, if you want 4 buttons, 5, whatever you want, marry them up where you see these stitch markers right here. And this is where we're going to start the buttonhole, okay? So let's bring this up like so, okay. And what you want to do, once you find the buttonholes, the section where you want your buttonhole to be, you single crochet into your first stitch for starters, and then you just, for this size button, now by the way, the size button that I'm using is, okay, it says it right there, it is size 28 or 18 millimeters, okay, or a G, if that helps, okay? So size 28 or 18 millimeters across, I'm assuming, yeah? All right, so what you want to do now is chain 1, skip that stitch that you have your stitch marker in, and just do a single crochet in the very next stitch. Remove your stitch marker for a moment. Do a couple of single crochets, 1, 2, doesn't matter, 3, we'll try 3. And then stop and check that your button fits in that chain 1 section. All right, so make sure your button fits. Whoops, it's across the other side of the room now, but it does fit. If it falls through real loosely, I had to push that through, right? If it falls through real loosely, take your chain 1 off, don't chain 1, just skip 1 and single crochet into the next. All right, if it's too tight, take it undone, chain 2 and skip 2 if you've got bigger buttons, all right? But it's a very simple procedure, really. You don't have to think twice about it, although if you want, it might pay for you. Oh, wait a minute. Put your stitch marker in your first stitch. My apologies there. And then place your stitch marker in the space, the chain 1 space that we just made. It will just help it easier for us to find it later, all right? So single crochet all the way across until you get to your next stitch marker. It's a simple procedure. You don't have to do anything fancy. This is why I love doing simple buttonholes on the channel, yeah? There are fancy ones out there. I try to avoid those if I can, yeah? All right, so we're right up to the next stitch marker. Once again, chain 1, skip the stitch marker, go into the very next stitch, and you're done. Single in the next few. You don't need to check anymore, but we do want to remove that stitch marker and replace it in the chain 1 space. all right, which is, if you stretch it, you can find it right there. All right, only because it helps us to find it in the next row when we need to do our next single crochet row. All right, so what I want you to do is simply that. Fill in all of your single crochets, chain one, skip one, single crochet all the way across, chain one, skip one, and then wait for me there. And I've got pieces of hair here hanging around. Wait for me there, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, I'm actually at the last buttonhole. I'm chaining one, skipping one. Let's remove that stitch marker. So I'm skipping it and doing a single crochet in my last stitch. Remove that stitch marker for a minute. I'm going to place that little stitch marker just in the buttonhole for a minute because it can be a little tricky here. All right, so place it in that buttonhole just for a minute. Then we're going to flip our work. Oh, have we chained one? No, not yet. Chain one and then flip your work. Excuse me, Mary, get it right. Single crochet in the same stitch. Stitch marker in that stitch right there. And single crochet in the space, the chain one space. So right around it, single crochet. Remove your stitch marker for one moment. And then single crochet into your next single crochet, and you are single crocheting all the way across. But once again, we're going to check the button. Now the reason is once you place this single crochet row on, it can actually tighten the gap. So we're going to try it. Let's see if it goes flicking around the other side of the room again. I don't know if that stitch marker is going to be in the way, but we're going to try it anyway. Come on, you can do this, Mary. Where is it? It's right up there. Okay, oop, there it is. So that worked. Now, again, it looks like this is going to be really high up, but we're going to do another round of single crochet and it will sit nicely. If we did it lower, it will be right down here now. It'll be like there now. And then we do a round of single crochet up the top. It's going to be too high or too low. All right, so keep that in mind. If you've got a smaller button, if you've got a larger button, you need to come down a bit. You need to do your chain one space a little lower. Okay, so stay focused on that. All right, so simple, 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 single crochet into every stitch all the way across. I'm going to pop this on fast. Well, that didn't take long at all, did it? But there's the next stitch marker. All right, so that's a stitch. Make sure you get into that stitch first, and then you single crochet over the chain one space. You can remove the stitch markers now because your next row will just be single crocheting all the way across, okay? So single in your very next stitch. Whoops, don't split the stitch like I just did. And single right up to the very next stitch marker, and I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. All right, we're close again to the buttonhole. Here we go. There's one before the buttonhole. Then you've got your buttonhole right around the buttonhole. That's it. Remove your stitch marker. It's very simple. All right, so here we are at the end of this section here. I've got one more buttonhole to go into, like so. Remove that stitch marker. Single crochet into, we've done it in the buttonhole, so single crochet into the stitch with your stitch marker. Remove it. Chain one. Turn your work. Before you do any of that, just if you want to check one of your other buttonholes, I would check. It should be okay because it fit through before. Mine are actually a bit tight, so yours will be tight too. But there's nothing worse than having a loose buttonhole and your button slips through it, all right? So that's your third single crochet row. We need to do 2 rows after the chain 1 space. We've already done 1. So what I want you to do now is to head off on your own and do 1 more single crochet row. Meet me back here once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this row. Get excited. Get excited. Alright, so what we're going to do now is simply this. Single crochet into our last stitch with our stitch marker. Chain 1, pull up a loop. Cut your work but don't remove the stitch marker. Alright, so cut your piece, don't remove your stitch marker, because we're going to need them there for later to find our corners, yeah? I mean now, so let's do that now. So what I want you to do is turn your work in the right side. All right, so if you were to turn your work in your right side and marry up your straps, if I can marry them up properly, you will find that the fronts now line up, which is what we want. In fact, they won't just line up, they will actually be like so. They will line up on top of each other. So that's where we're going to put our buttons and buttonholes. All right, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do any buttons, we've done our buttonholes. What am I saying? Before we do any buttons, what we want to do is, this is the right side of our work. Look down the base. I've got a stitch marker on mine to show where I want you to go, right? But what I want you to do is, this is the left front, but the right side of our work. So when you wear it, you're wearing it like that, right? So go over to what would be roughly around the center of your side seams. This is roughly. Now remember, your side seams are not here. They're actually here because of the way we've created our squares, yeah? So I just put a rough stitch marker, and it doesn't have to be, can be in the front of that 3 double crochets, behind it, it doesn't matter. So what I want you to do is pop, that's the right side of your work, yeah? You're going to pop your hook in that space, any of the spaces there just near the side seam, all right? Because that's where we're going to start our border round. Now this border round that we're going to do is going to go around the whole piece, all right? Don't worry about that, let's just do. Let's just do, yeah? Pull a loop through like so, chain 1, single crochet in the space. Simple stitch, trust me, very simple. And pop your stitch marker in. You'll need that at the end of the round so you can actually find that to slip stitch into at the end of the round. And we're going to crochet over the tail, but we're still going to weave it in, yeah? Just move your little guy over, find the very first stitch and single over it, and the second, and the third, and the fourth. Oh, I'm sorry, not the fourth, but the actual chain space. So I'm going to move that thread away from the chain space now and just do a normal single crochet over the chain space. You know what you're doing. You did this with the fronts, okay? So it's single crochet into every stitch all the way around. So easy. But when we get to this section here, we need to do some work, all right? So what I'm going to do, let's pop this on fast. Let's go like that. Oh, that's too much. I'm going to pop this on fast, get to that first seam line, and I'll meet you there in a moment. And off we go. Alrighty guys, I am at the seam line, and let me show you what I've done so you can see. We'll bring that down to there, like so. So that's the front, the left front. We started right past that first seam, and we started where we assume is the middle of our armpit, roughly, but at the base, not at the top. That's where our armpit is, that's at the base. So all the way across, and we are at the first seam line. Now this is the reason why I didn't get you to weave these ends in, but if you've weaved them in, that's more power to you. So what we're going to do is single crochet into the next stitch like normal. That's the last stitch. All right, so you're here. What we want to do is single crochet in the space, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together here. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, but before you do, grab your tail and pass it at the back, just to leave it there and out of the way. Then you're going to jump into your very next corner, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops together, and you've done a single crochet 2 together. All right, then you're going to pop a single crochet in this corner like so. You had a single 2 together, and then a single, and then you move everything over, and this has got a little bit of a chain here. Single there, 1. Oh, I didn't work through that properly, did I? 2, 3, and then your chain space. All right, so it looks like that. All right, so it's very simple. What you need to do now, you need to do a single crochet into every stitch all the way across. When you get to your corners, there's a single in there, single 2 together, and a single in the next one. Do exactly the same all the way until you get to your first stitch marker of the front. Okay, so continue in that manner all the way, go all the way, get to that stitch marker right there. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we've done most of our base, because remember we only started from one section, but now we are close to this front edge here, which can be a little confusing. So what I've done is the last 3 double crochets, I've put a single crochet in each one. Then there's the corner space. Pop your hook in, just drop the tail at the back, and do 1 single crochet in that corner space. Now we did 5 rows of front, so we need 5 single crochets there. So 1 into the first space you find, 1 into the next, that's the second, third, fourth, and the 5th one is that tight single crochet, the first one you did right there. Actually, it's the first one in the last row. So put 1 in there, you're going to put a second one and a third one, all in the same space. If you want to do another round, pop your stitch marker in your second stitch. If you have enough yarn to do another round and you would like to tighten your work, then leave your stitch marker in the corner stitch at the base of both fronts. All right, I'm going to leave it there. If I have enough yarn, look, I'm playing yarn chicken. That's all I have left, okay? If I have enough yarn, I may do another round. I don't know. But in the meantime, single crochet into every stitch across. This is easy because this is your front. So you are single crocheting across your front and get all the way to the top right there and meet me there. And I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. Alrighty guys, we are at the end of this section here. It just took so long, I ended up transitioning. It took so long. Alright, so what I want you to do, I have 2 single crochets left. Let's do the second one. And on your third one, you're going to pop your hook in, pop that tail right at the back, doing 1 single crochet and a second single crochet. and a third single crochet, and yours truly put the stitch marker in the wrong stitch before, but there you go. Now pop your stitch marker in your second stitch that you did, the second last stitch, and just bring your work to the side, and you're going down 5 stitches. Well, actually 4 now, yeah? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, because your corner stitch was your 5th one, all right? Then you're going into that corner space with 1 single crochet. Move it over, find your first little stitch there, and then you are doing what you did before. And that's it. But now it's a little different. And the reason is because we actually have the front to do, and you're going to go all along the front and then the strap edge. So yeah, very exciting now, isn't it? Okay, so there you go. Well, let's keep going, huh? Okay, so in that stitch, in the next space, 3 stitches across, 1, 2, 3. Now in chain space, you've got the stitch coming out of that chain space. Don't worry about our thread. We're going to crochet over it, but you're also going to sew that in as well. So in that space, you're going to do from there to there, 2 together. So pop your hook in, pull a loop through. You can let go of your tail now, hold it there. Jump into the next space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. In the same space, you're doing a single crochet, like so. Then you're going to single crochet along the arm edge. Now that's going to be a little tricky, but all you need to remember is in every double crochet that you see, or every double crochet row that you did, you're putting 2 single crochets. You just go around it. So 1 and 2. Next space, 1 and 2. Next space, 1 and 2. Next space, 1 and 2. And next space, 1 and 2. And here's where it changes. You're going around the chains here. So 1, 2. Chains or whatever you put there. Next space, 1 and 2. Next double crochet around it, 1 and 2. All right, super duper easy. You're going to find it tugging a little bit. That is what we want. We want it to close up a little bit here so it's not so loose around our underarms. All right, so that's pretty much it. I don't think I need to show you any more. No, I do. But what I want you to do is to do 2 single crochets into every space and 2 single crochets around every double crochet until you get to your seam line, which is right on top of your shoulders there. All right, continue that section. Meet me back here once you're done and we'll work on our seam line. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this section here. We're not at the end, we're just at the top where the shoulder strap is. So I haven't done that last row, and the reason is we're going to do 1 single crochet in there and then a single crochet 2 together and then 1 into the next. All right, so single in the first section of it right there, yeah, and now we single crochet this one and the next corner together. All right, so you start it, hold it there, jump into the next corner, and you've got your 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now single crochet in that same space, and then you're jumping into your very next space with 2 single crochets. Oops, did I split that yarn a little bit? I did. And then you single crochet 2 into your next space. I find this one here a little tricky. I find it easier to go into the stitch and then in there, but it doesn't matter. You can do 2 into the actual stitch like so. 2 into your next. You know this part. It's been the same all the way through. And 2 into your next All right, now I don't think I need to show you anymore, all right? But what I want you to do is, for now, go all the way down to, right down to the back, just where the base of your sleeve is there. I'm sorry, not sleeve, armhole edge is there. That's the back of your armhole, okay? That's the top of your shoulder, your front, top of your shoulder, and the back, all right? So go all the way down there. Meet me there in just a moment, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. But what we'll do, get to the very last set here. Just fill up the very last set. Don't do the space, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get all the way down to the base of the back where the back meets the strap, yeah? So you want to go and do one single crochet in there and a second one in there, all right? So then you want to do a single crochet two together. So start your single crochet in the back section and then right into the next space and do your two together. Then you're going to single crochet in the top of your double crochets all the way across and into the space and into your double crochets all the way across, okay? All right, so what we've got here is our space, okay? You're going to start your single crochet and finish it off in the next space. And then you're going to put two single crochets in there. And from here, you're going into your next set with two single crochets just around that one double crochet there. And then two into your chains, one and two. Two into the next chains, one and two, and I'm working around this, yeah? Two into your next chains, one and two. Two into your next chains, one and two. Now this looks like it's pulling a little bit. That's the look we're going for, okay? You'll see it at the end when you're wearing it. Single in your next, well, two singles in your next, and so on. And this is super easy. What you're doing here is repeating this side that you did on the other side. So you're going to go, oops, get this away from me, all the way down here, get to your seam line. You're doing a single crochet and then single crochet two together and then a single crochet. Then you're going to single crochet all the way down until you get to here. I'm going to do this part with you though, all right? I want to do this section here with you and then show you what to do after. All right, so do all of your back shoulder strap, front shoulder strap, get to the base near your front edge area here, and I'll meet you there once you're done. All right, so we've gone from the back, doing the seam line, going all the way down to the front edge of our strap. And now we're at the base where our front edge is, if you think about it. I've done my two in there and I've got this front area. I'm going to put two single crochets in there, one and two, removing the stitch marker and placing two together here. So one and two, like so, and then just single crocheting across until we get to the single crochets. Am I going too fast? Sorry guys, I'll slow down. I'm getting excited because it's the end of the top now. We're getting very close to being the end of the top. So I'm on my third double crochet there, and then we've got these rows here. First we do our corner, which is there. Remember they are 5 rows, so you go 1, 2, 3, looks like it's not going to make it, but it does, 4, And the 5th one is that tight stitch right there. Remove your stitch marker for a moment. Do a 2nd single crochet in there. Pop your stitch marker in there. This is only for those of you who want to do another round. Yeah, single again in the same space. So you should have 3 singles in the same space, but your stitch marker on your 2nd one. And then you single crochet all the way down your piece. But not just that, you single crochet all the way down your piece. Let me bring this out a bit. And like that. Okay, you single crochet all the way down your piece. Remember what we did before? You put 3 single crochets in the corner and pop your stitch marker in the center single crochet or in the 2nd single crochet, and then you single crochet 4 more down this way. You know what? Let's just do that. Single crochet over to this stitch marker right here. Meet me there and we'll do the rest together. All right, single crochet across there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty, so I asked you to get all the way down to the base here. We're going to do a single crochet, my 2nd last stitch. Alright, so there's the corner. You do a single crochet in that corner. I'm going to grab the tail and crochet over it. So 1, 2, pop a stitch marker in that one if you're going to do another round. It's not necessary that other round. That's just something that tightens up your work if you want it tighter. Pop your 3rd single crochet in there as well. Oh, that's not it. It's in there. Yeah. And then 4 down. So 1, 2. Oh, I split that, didn't I? 2, 3, 4. This one's a little tricky, this area for me. And then a single crochet over your corner, like so. And then a single crochet in your 1st stitch, a bit tight for me, to join. Yep. Single in your 2nd, your 3rd, and then over your chain stitch. All right, so guess what, guys? That's it. You know how to do the rest. Single crochet over every double crochet in every chain space. Get to this section here, single crochet 1, single crochet 2 together, and then single 1, and then continue until you get to your stitch marker. You know how to do that section. We did it before at the beginning. Go ahead and do that now. Meet me there and get excited. We're almost done, guys. Single crochet over to that stitch marker. I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty, guys. So I have done my single crochet all the way around until I got to my stitch marker, which is super exciting now. I do have one more stitch to go, which is right there. We already started in the chain space, so we don't need to do a chain. All we need to do is that slip stitch to join. Now, if you're going to make that extra round, just chain 1, single crochet in there like so, pop your stitch marker, and off you go, doing your single crochets all the way around. And this time you don't need to jump over any sections. You just need to single crochet in the round. However, when you get to the base of your front and the top of your front, you need to pop in 3 single crochets in that stitch marker. Otherwise, it's a single crochet into every stitch all the way around. But since we are not doing the extra round, what we want to do is, let's remove that. Well, I'm not doing the extra, oh, I've gone too far, sorry. I'm not doing the extra round, so what I want you to do, if you're not doing the extra round, is simple. All you're doing is slip stitch to join like that, pull up a loop, give your work a cut, and we will weave that end in later. Alrighty guys, so now that you're done with that, we're going to work on the inner, oh excuse me, we're not even in frame, the inner edge of the sleeves. Get excited guys, we're almost done. And once again, you're going to do the same thing you did down here. You're going to just line it up as best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. In fact, if I were you, I would start my hook just under the arm, but more further at the back than the front. So pop your hook in, grab your new thread and pop it over your hook and pull that loop through. Remember, it's exactly the same as the front, but it's the sleeve. That's all it is. So chaining one, oh, we're too far away. Hello. Single in that same space. We're going to crochet over the tail, single in your first stitch, crocheting over that tail, 1, 2, and 3, and naughty me, forgot to pop my stitch marker in there. So give me 1 second and I'll grab a stitch marker. And right in that very first single crochet, pop your stitch marker there, just so we know where to slip stitch at the end of the round. I truly don't think I need to show you what to do here, but we'll see how far we can get. Single in the next few stitches until you get to that join, which we're not far off anyway. We're almost there. Now this is the armhole edge, yeah, or the arm edge, if you will. So whilst you're here, this is a seam line, sorry. So single crochet in the space, single crochet 2 together, remember? Single in the same space, and then single across until we get to that little edge where we need to do 2 together again, but to close it up really. Okay, you'll know what I mean when I get there. Single 1, oh, was that a single, double, triple, who knows? Single 1, single 2, single 3. I'm rushing because I know it's at the end, yeah? We're at the end, almost there, guys. We need to do the buttons yet, but that's quick, yeah? So you're going to single 2 together here. So pop your hook in. This is the armhole edge, yeah? So pop your hook in, pull your loop up, jump into your next space, pull your loop up, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, single in there, okay? If you find the gap too big, you can do another single. If you find it too big, you can. Otherwise, just leave it as it is. But I'm going to do the other single because I find it too big. 2 singles in each of your next chain spaces. You know this, very simple. All right, I don't need to show you anymore. The rest you can do. The rest you can do because you can copy exactly what we did on the front here. Go right up to the shoulder seam, single crochet 1 there, single crochet 2 together, single crochet 1 there, single crochet all the way around, get down here and do your 1, 2, 2 together over here and then right across to the other side and slip stitch to join. All right, well, we'll get to that stitch marker anyway. So that's it. Continue in the round, which is not very big now. Get to that stitch marker and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, and you should have gotten to this section right here where I have, oh, I've got a little bit more to do. Excuse me, she stopped working. 2 and 3. And we've already got 1 in the chain space, haven't we? So we slip stitch to join. And if you have more thread, I would do 1 more round. It's not going to hurt. But pull up a loop. In the meantime, cut your thread. You're going to weave that end in a minute. But guess what? Again, you don't want to be lopsided. What you do to one side, excuse me, what's going on here? What you do to one side, you must do to the other, wherever the other one is. It's just one big mess at the moment, guys. I will fix it up later, I promise. Okay, once again, you find the center of the armhole area, and it doesn't matter where that center is. It does not matter. It's a rough section. But again, pop your hook sort of further on the back part of that center rather than the front. All right, so right in that back area, a little bit there, grab your thread once again, if I can find it wherever it is. Here we go. Oh, she couldn't find it. There you go. Over the hook, pull the loop through, pass it forward. I'm just going to literally start you off single crochet. I'm not going to say too much because I think you know what you're doing. You do need the stitch marker, so pop that stitch marker in there like so. You need it. Yep. Single in your next stitch. I'm crocheting over my tail, not necessary. You're going to weave it in as well anyway. So crocheting second one and then the third one, and then we're at the chain space, so we'll drop that tail and single into the chain space and your stitches. And I don't think I need to show you any more because guess what? You're going to copy exactly what you did to this one. You're going to do here. I've made a big mess of my stuff. There's threads everywhere and it's all creased and yucky, but let me straighten it all up for you. There you go. What I want you to do now is to do the other side right there. Finish that side, meet me back here and get ready for weaving in ends and buttons. All right, go ahead and do that now and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty, here we are at the end. That round took a long time, didn't it? It was too close, excuse me. All right, so we're going to do single crochet across into the last stitch there and not into the space because we've already done that. What we're going to do is slip stitch to join now. Question is, if you have enough thread, you can do one more round. I don't have enough thread. It's not necessary. It's not a part of the design, okay? Pull a loop through. What that other round does is it just tightens everything up for you if you find it a little too loose, yeah? But it's not necessary. We're going to weave that end in later. You know what? Let's just do it quickly now so you can see what I do. And I've actually done lots of weaving in with this piece, so I'm not going to weave anything else in. But I do want to show you the other version that I usually do. I'm sure I've done it in this piece earlier on in the piece, but just quickly I'm going to. That's the inside of our work. That's the outside where we just finished doing. And see where our knot is right there? All you want to do is go down the back of the stitch that you are already in. And it's not the whole stitch, it's just the loop at the back. So I like to call it the back base loop, right? And you pull it through, the tail pulls down. You don't actually see a knot much. And when your underarm is there, you don't see it at all. Even if you were to raise your arm, you would not see that. So just find some thread somewhere, just, you know, split it a little bit, just so you can get down to an area where you're at the inside of your work now. So once you are there, you can find some threads to weave into. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front. Gorgeous. Yeah. And then just weave it in. Like so. All right. Just 2 times, 3 times, whatever you feel comfortable with. Give the thread a cut, and there you go. You're done. Now, whilst I was off air, I weaved in all the other, I weaved in all the other ends, and I attached 3 of my buttons already. I'm going to, don't stress, I will show you how to do the rest. It's very, very simple, yeah? You can remove these stitch markers if you like now. They're only to help us out if we wanted to do another round, and I didn't do another round, so let's take them off. Now I've put 3 buttons on. What I wanted you to do is actually, I've threaded my needle off air and I'll just show you how much yarn I did, 1 and 2, and then I just cut it there. You don't need much at all, okay? You don't need much at all. So there's the thread that we need, simple, simple. And what I did was I started with the top one, then I did the base one, then I did my second one, and I'm now going to do the third one with you. To do that, all you need to do is to place your piece over your piece, right? So what I did here was I actually passed my needle through there. I held the piece together like that. Let's get a close up so you can see. And I found the little space there, the buttonhole, turned it over, and I passed my needle through, went straight through then, through that buttonhole. All right, so let's assume that we've all done that buttonhole, and we're going to do the last buttonhole. Now, if you're not sure where the buttonhole is, just grab a stitch marker and pop it in there. And because I had trouble finding the second buttonhole. This one here is pretty easy, but the second one was rather tight for me. Yeah. Now, before you do your second and your third buttonhole, literally button up your top. All right. Once you've done your first and your last button, you button up the top. So when you do your next one, which is right there, and a little bit over, it goes exactly where you want it to go. All right. Whoops, there it is. It was hard to see there, isn't it? I'm going to move everything out the way in a minute, but it's pretty much there. All right. So what I want you to do now, simply, is this. When you pull this needle through, don't pull it through all the way. So pull it through a little bit, leave yourself, I don't know, about a hand's worth, yeah, there. Maybe even a little bit less if you can weave in better than I can. And just, I think I might have gone a bit too far down with mine. So what I need to do is grab my button, pop it through one of the holes. I've got a 2-hole button. If you've got 4, you need to fill in all 4 holes. Yeah, so pop your needle through, like so. And then just pop it through the stitch where you started doing your piece. Close to it, on it, wherever it is that you want to do it, yeah? Grab those 2 pieces at the thread and just give it at the back and just give it a tug. Now I want to actually straighten my button up. I did that. I thought I did that with the other ones and they still didn't straighten. But anyway, that's just the way it is. I thought I'd straightened it up, but I didn't. So I'm going to straighten up my button. And from here, I want to go through and find one of the spaces there, being wary not to pull the other thread through. Oh, I pulled it out. Good on you, Mare. Let's try that again. Where am I? There. Yeah. There you go. Being wary not to pull the other thread through and just do that. Always check to make sure that other thread is still sitting there. It might pay to hold it in your hand. This way you find that you won't go through it. Yep. And then just pop your needle through the next bit. And back through the other one. Yeah. Oh, it might be tight like mine was just there. Hello. This is the last time I'm putting it through because it's very tight. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Now, there are 2 ways to do this part. Both ways will consist of you tying a knot at the back. Just 1 knot for now. Just one. So you tie 1 knot and give it a tug. Now, in the old days, when I say old days, it was only a few months back even, and I used to do this in the past years ago when I was doing dressmaking. But you can't see where I've sewn that button, can you? You can't see the thread. You know, sometimes you leave your top open and people can see the big threaded knot there. You won't be able to see it with this version. What you want to do is pass your sewing needle through the back, but don't put it through the button. Just pop it through the back somewhere. Oh, it's close up, like that. Pull that needle through, right? Now, you know how you usually weave in back there? You're going to weave in here, but you're going to do it under the button where no one can see. So all you're doing is going through a few stitches there. Can you see that 1 or 2 stitches there? One way, yep. If you want to change your buttons, this is not going to work, heads up. And you go through another section there, and some of it might be tight, some of it will be too tight. And you do it 1 more time right there. Like so. You could do it another one. I might just pass it back in the other direction. Different area, of course, not the same place you just went through, yeah. And then you grab your sewing needle, you grab your scissors and you cut it fairly close to under the button. Now, not only can you not see that thread this side, you won't be able to see it there. So you're going to rethread your needle. By the way, make sure when you're sewing a button up, when you're ready to do it, use the right needle. I used this one before and I couldn't get it through the space. So quick heads up there. If you've already started because you've been watching me and your needle doesn't fit and you got caught out, sorry about that, I should have mentioned it earlier. This one here, once again, you're going to pass it through under the button. If I can get it out. Goes to show that there's no way this is coming undone. So if you want to change a button, you're going to find it really difficult to bring that undone, to cut it, All right, so that's that. I am going to cut that one. That's a bit close to further down towards the button area. I'll have a look at it. Should be all right. There you go. All right, give it a stretch. It's gone and it's snug right into there. And turning it around, you see no thread at the back of your buttons. All right, so that's a little sneaky sewing trick that I used to use in my dressmaking days. All right, but your job now, my dears, and I don't want to waste any more of your time. Well, this buttonhole was really hard to find, and it's still really hard to find. I don't know why. The other ones are okay. I don't know what I did with this one, but anyway, it is tighter. And, we could take the stitch marker out. We'll do up the buttons. I'll do up the buttons real quickly. Don't forget, guys, you can also wash and block your top if you like. I think I will. I think it sits better after a washing and blocking. Yeah. Also, guys, don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. We have a lot of fun, sometimes too much fun. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys pretty much already do for me. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs. Ciao for now.